Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. I am one says, I have a job interview coming up soon. How do I mask so that I seem normal so people can't tell something is off with me, please? And I have to say right out the gate, I always, whenever somebody talks about masking, I want to acknowledge that it's a difficult term for a lot of people. I also want to acknowledge I certainly participate in masking. I'm someone who's neurotypical, but I mask sometimes. I would love to tell people that I'm 100% myself whenever I walk out the door or talk to anybody. That is, and I'm moving towards that. I want to be more authentically myself wherever I am and be okay with the fact that sometimes people are not okay with that. But it's hard. It's really hard. And I think we all feel a certain need to mask at some times, but I think that their question is a little bigger and a little deeper, and it breaks my heart as a parent.
But thank you for, I mean, I love the way you spoke about it, Shannon, and introduced it. And I think we all mask to some degree or another. And I think there's multiple sides to this. I want to kind of try to address all of them. So, you know, it would also be a little bit strange if we didn't mask. Like, I just want to start from that, because part of the reason we mask, I love, there's a series of books and it talks all about like how we grow, the taming of us as we become adults, right? And if we didn't mask, I'm not sure that we would be following social norms or social rules. I think part of us, not being 100% ourselves is simply that we've had to learn to adhere to what society expects of us, right? So, I mean, I will tell you that I'm like a much more casual and jovial type of person than I am when I attend board meetings, right? As an example, every environment teaches us its own rules, right? Like you go to, and if you think about it, if you go to a baseball field, you're going to behave very differently than if you go to a library. And that's masking, right? That is controlling some aspects of yourself in order to fit in. Now, for someone who's asking this question and they're very astute and aware and concerned about the I guess symptoms associated with autism, I want to try to help you not see it as something that is standing out, but just see it as, you know what, here are a set of rules that have to do with society, and I kind of need to adhere to these rules. Focus on the external more than the internal. You don't want to focus on how do I change myself. You want to focus on, okay, like, in a work setting or in a job, interview, I have to be polite. So I need to be, address the individual in a manner that it shows that I am polite. I need to be on time. I need to be focused on the person who is talking to me. I can't be distracted at that time. I need to listen and respond. I need to give that person adequate time to say all the things. So I can't interrupt them, for instance. So focus more on just typical behaviors that are expected of us during a job interview, and less focused on, what if I tap my finger? Don't worry about things like that. As long as you do the traditional kind of appropriate behaviors for a job interview, which I promise you can even look up online, I think it's always better to focus on that. So it's always better to focus on things to do rather than things not to do, right? So, and that allows you to continue to be yourself, but just behave appropriately in the setting.
You know, what's interesting, I think about last week was Valentine's Day. And if there was somebody that you cared about, whether it was as a friend or as someone, a romantic partner, you know, one of the things that we learn as we get to know people is what their love language is. And that some people, you know, you have a friend that they're about the gift. If you show up to their birthday and you don't have a gift, they're decimated, right? There are
Yeah.
other people who could care less.
Right.
Like my husband has learned that for me on Valentine's Day, don't show up with chocolate. I'm allergic to chocolate. Like that
Yeah.
is just a disaster. And don't, you know, for my husband, listen, I love getting flowers. I don't have a thing about flowers, but it's not my love language. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I love to get them from friends, but not from my husband. It's not like a big romantic thing for me. There's other stuff. And my son knows, boy, he writes a poem for mom and that's everything. That's
Yeah.
everything. He doesn't have to spend money on me. If he writes me a poem, I'm over the moon, right? And if you think about it, it's kind of the same thing in a job interview that, you know, my son doesn't change who he is to give me a gift, but when he gives me the gift, he's thinking about what will make me happy. And in the job interview, if you think about it and think, okay, what are the kinds of things that make these people happy? I'm going to dish it up
Absolutely.
because I want something from them. But I guess I just really, I hate for people to feel like they can't be themselves. Or I think the phrase here that breaks my heart, I am one, is that you saying that something that you don't want people to look at you and tell that something is off. I think that's the part that my heart is breaking over, because
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you at all. You're perfect and you're wonderful, but we all know that there's a hoop of fire that you have to get through to get the interview. And I think you know that, and I think that's what you're asking about. But if we can put it in that context of, here are the 10 things that they're looking for, and Dr. Granpeesheh just went through some of them. So I'm going to do those things just because that is the context of what we're doing right now. In a job interview, you do these 10 things and then you are successful. Just like, you know, when you give someone, you maybe don't like chocolate, like I give people chocolate, but I don't like chocolate, but I know what's going to make them happy. So you
Right.
serve up the thing that people want to do that. But I'm sending them a hug, and I know that there are places all around the country now that are working on just these skills. Our dear departed Joanne Lara used to do with Autism Works. They used to do classes where they would do practice interviews. They would videotape themselves. The whole class would watch it back and give each other pointers and go, "Oh, did you see where you didn't quite do the thing there?" And work on it, rehearse it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm all about rehearsal.
Absolutely. And so, you know, one of the uh, things that you learn kind of as a psychologist, just helping people who have that anxiety, not necessarily on this spectrum, but just people who have anxiety, what you never want to tell the person to just cut their own behaviors or curtail or worry about this, that, or the other thing. You want to kind of get the person more focused on something outside of themselves. And I think that it is important for you to just be who you are. You don't need to change that. And just focus on those types of things that are expected of everyone in a job interview. And don't worry about anything else, because bottom line, you don't want to mask to the point where when you get the job, you have to act like someone else. You
Yeah.
know, you want to be able to be yourself. I tell people all the time, the biggest thing about a job is that you should enjoy it. You spend so much time in the job that it is important that you enjoy it and that you can actually be yourself. But that also doesn't mean, you know, breaking the rules of society. To a large extent, we all kind of have to adhere to those rules. And, you know, fortunately, the rules are changing.
Yes.
The rules are becoming much more flexible. The rules are becoming much more agreeable to individuals on the spectrum. People are more aware and able to produce environments that are tolerable. So, you know, I think that things are changing in both ways, but I don't want you to worry about who you are. I think that you know, in psychology, we refer to this as the state versus the trait. Whatever traits you have, you keep those traits. That's who you are. It doesn't matter you're in a state where you might need to curtail some behaviors or act a certain way, but it doesn't touch who you really are.
I love that. This is one of the many reasons why we love you, Dr. Granpeesheh. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.